Hello again. Today marks the beginning of a series of videos that I'm going to do that covers everything about 4th edition. Now, my reason for doing this is as of the last couple of days, I keep encountering a lot of people who just hate 4th edition for really no reason. They're ill-informed about 4th edition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a series of videos detailing all the books that I own about 4th edition and try and remain as unbiased one way as I can. So, if I talk good about something, chances are I'm also going to mention one of the bad things about it. To try and give both sides of the argument to allow people to be well informed and actually make an intelligent decision about 4th edition. Whether you like it or you don't like it, it's personal preference. Just don't be stupid about it. So, we're going to start with, the beginnings. The Player's Handbook 1. What a majority of people who play 4th edition will have. Now, it goes into a little bit of detail about Deities. I mean, it's not great. It's very similar to the 3.5 version of Deities. Like a short paragraph about the deity. And then the difference is it then lists, 4 or 5 tenets that they tend to follow here. Like I'll read one for Bahamut. Uphold justice, uphold the highest ideals of honor and justice. Be constantly vigilant against evil and oppose it at all fronts, and protect the weak, liberate the opposed, and defend just order. So, with that, you kind of get a real sense of how the deity is supposed to be played. At the same time, however, they got rid of a lot of they got rid of domains for clerics completely. They don't exist. There's some feats that specialize towards gods, which are all right. I've never actually found a use for them, but some other people could. Maybe they just don't fit my playstyle. But they detail some of the good gods, all of them actually, and just list the names of some of the evil gods, and they raised Asmodeus from just a Lord of the Nine Hells to the evil god of the Nine Hells. So he actually can have worshiper, like clerical worship, which is alright. It goes into, how to build your character with social interactions. Like, are you optimistic? Are you trusting? How assertive are you? Just kind of generalized things. It's a brief bit, but it's still there. It's pretty cool. Goes into the scripts of some of these. Here, let's see if we can line this up. That's Dwarven, letters and numbers. That's Elven, letters and numbers. Nice flavor. It's alright. By the way, this is the limited edition version. I didn't find much extra to it. I actually own 3 copies of Player's Handbook. I won some stuff. I actually only bought one, and then a competition I won, so they gave me free Player's Handbooks and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's nice, just so you know. It's fake silver binding right there. Some pretty cool artwork, all holographic, and it's not nice inside, but not $70. For the love of God, I don't understand why anyone would pay $70 for these books. You have to really, really love whatever you are buying to spend $70 on it. I can't even find any game that I justify spending $70 on. I'm cheap. But I digress. So it goes on to where it tells you how retraining works, which is I like the idea of retraining. Systematic, like role playing wise, it doesn't make a lot of sense how the fighter can all of a sudden, not do something anymore. I guess you could justify it by you don't use it a lot, so your character's kind of falling out of practice of it. You could explain it like that, I guess, but role playing wise, it's a little bit shaky. System wise, I think it's really cool because you level up. You're like, I want this feat. It sounds cool. You actually use it for like a couple levels, and you're like, that feat really is not doing any good. I can find a better feat. So you can swap it out for an equal tiered feat. So, you have a heroic tier feat, you can't retrain it to a paragon, but you can retrain it to another heroic feat, which is pretty cool. I enjoyed it. It goes over the races, which they've gotten rid of the you get a plus and a minus. They got rid of it. I like it because why does every dwarf have to be, take that -2 to charisma? Why? I mean, if he's a politician, chances are that charisma damage shouldn't be there. It's not like you can do away with it. Why are elves failing at Constitution all the time? I mean, yes, they're frail, most of them, but what about the occasional one that's not? I mean, it's just, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this getting rid of that. But the races they have are the Dragonborn, which are essentially your half-dragons, without the wings. People like them, people don't like them. I personally enjoy them, because every game's got your half-dragon, but they always have a ridiculous level adjustment. You can't really play them, unless you play a high-level game, and then you're sacrificing a whole bunch of levels for it, so I like them. I think their story is really cool. Wizards released a book. I don't actually own it, but just like a 32-page book or whatever, just detailing, just role-playing information about the Dragonborn. It was really cool, and it really detailed their story, and I thought it was a really badass story, honestly. But they got some cool abilities, like their Dragon Breath, and which is, really gets them back to that dragon aspect where they can just, shoot this blast of whatever energy type they are. It's pretty cool. Dwarves, they gave a plus to wisdom. Oh, I should probably tell you that. Dragonborn in here. Now, there's an errata, and I'll get to the errata for the player's handbook after I review, the actual book. They got a 2 in strength and charisma. Dwarves get a con and wisdom bonus, but they also gained a lot of things. They got, they used to have the dwarven stability that's brought through. Their bonuses versus poison brought through. Their ability, encumbered speed thing, where they, could wear heavy armor and not suffer the penalty for it. That's brought through. The resistance to bull rushes brought through. I mean, one thing pisses me off so hard. They got rid of dwarven low light vision. I mean, dark vision. They gave them low light. I think that's bullshit. You hate it every time I see it. Ugh. Yes, none of the players' handbook 1 races have dark vision, I don't believe. We'll flip through and we'll find out. The Eladrin are essentially, gray elves. They're very magical, very fey-like elves. They get a bonus to dexterity and intelligence. They get an ability to teleport, which is actually really useful, I found. Pretty cool. Other than that, they're very similar to elves, and they're the spellcasting elves. They're alright. Elves, they've, dex and wisdom are theirs. Elven accuracy. Their biggest thing, should we say, is reroll an attack roll, use the second roll even if it's lower. It's alright. I mean, you get it right off the bat, but it's alright. So, I mean, they're not overpowered. I'm not going to get into huge detail of any of these. If you really want me to, send me a message or a video response, and I'll, go into full detail about it if you want, about a race if you want. But for this purpose, I'm just going to overview. Half-elves no longer suck. They got a +2 to con and charisma. Do not ask me why they got Constitution. I do not understand it. I think it should have been dex and charisma. That's just me. They got some of their power. They don't actually have a power. They get, alright, what did they get? They got an ability that allows them to choose a first level at-will attack power from a class that is different from your own, and you use that power as an encounter power, which is, it's alright. Halflings, +2 to dex and charisma. Their big thing is when an attack hits you, you force the enemy to reroll the attack. If the enemy has to use the second result, even if it's lower. So, you get crit, and you're like, if I get hit, I'm dead. Roll that again, please, and you may live. Probably not though. Humans, they get a +2 to 1 ability score of their own choice. So that's pretty cool. Then they get the bonus feat, bonus skill, bonus. They get their bonus type stuff. Then we get tieflings. Now, I have mixed feelings about tieflings. Semi-demons as player characters. I mean, I find that a little bit of a stretch, given I also just So I like the dragon form. But maybe even them, they're terrifying if you think about it. If you're a villager, this half dragon and half demon walk into your village and all, let's go help you. You're gonna be like, your kind tends to burn us. You try and kill us and eat us. So, once again, though, Tiefling's got a 32-page book. It's really cool. They got an awesome story. A little bit kind of just, well, why? I mean, these types normally tend to kill and eat people. Or, I mean, have you ever heard of a good demon? No. I think they're forced to be evil. Otherwise, they'd be like angels. But, I mean, that covers the races. Ultimately, I was happy with the races. But I know a lot of people who are just like, they're not the standard elf, half-elf, dwarf, human, gnome, halfling. I mean, and half-orc somehow got his way in there. I don't know. But then we move on to the classes. Now, because the classes are a very long entry, I'm just going to briefly go over them and, pick out high points. Cleric no longer is that healing monkey. You spend majority of your turns just healing your comrades because they got their ass kicked. No, because they have healing surges and they made your, very basic healing a minor action. You can just kind of heal over here and then actually do something, worthwhile, something interesting. I like that. They don't automatically off the bat get plate mail. I'm a little annoyed by that, but I like plate mail with dwarves. Just get a feat and you're fine. The powers are pretty good. Turn undead. And this book is ridiculous. Like, it is so fucking broken in this book. They edited it, so it's all fixed, but it was so good in this till they caught it. I mean, this thing just cleared dungeons with Turn Undead. It was crazy because it's an encounter power, which I enjoyed. Because At Will was too broken, but Daily was just too few. I mean, I understand encounter. Depending on how many encounters you have, you might get more than you do in 3.5 per day. But you can only do this once per encounter versus the other one where you can do it actually like once per round, I believe it was. The powers are pretty cool. Obviously, they're still a little bit... they're divine, so they're not as flashy and showy as some could be. The Paragon Paths... There's a few in this book. There's not a lot. You get your Angelic Avenger, your Divine Oracle, your Radiant Servant, which is taken from your Radiant Servant of Palor class from 3.5, and your War Priest. I mean, that's just 4. They're all... The War Priest and Radiant Servant are alright. Angelic Avenger's got some cool things. My personal favorite, though, out of this book is the Divine Oracle, because of Prophecy of Doom. Target one creature. You or an ally who hits the target with an attack can choose to make the attack a critical hit. When the power lasts till the end of your next turn or until an ally uses it to make an attack a critical hit. That's just an awesome power. It's a little bit broken in some ways, yes, but it's so fun to play with. But it is so broken, especially later on. Next up, we have the Fighter. They also don't get... basic fighters do not get plate mail training off the bat. Because they're supposed to be viewed, I guess, more in the soldier-esque. Medieval warriors, they didn't have full plate most of the time. They were like walking around in chainmail, scale mail, shit like that. The fighters are pretty good. You specialize in a weapon early on, very similar to 2nd edition, how you picked your weapon at the beginning. That's kind of what you used. Only these are a little bit more broad than picking a single weapon. You pick groups like axes or swords. Powers, really useful, actually. You can go heavy utility. You get a whole bunch of ones that mainly focus on moving you through the battlefield, which is what my main warrior does in my game. He runs through the battlefield a lot of the times. But he's got really nice attack powers as well.